Bend over to your right.
What the was that?
What's up, Bears fans? People want to hear me talk. What's going on, Bears fans, and welcome to another episode of the Nicholas Moreano Show. I'm your host, Nicholas Moreano. Make sure you like, subscribe, leave a comment on this show so we can get this out to even more Bears fans. You guys have been awesome just growing this channel and sharing it with other people. And I just want to start off this show by apologizing to everybody for the last show I did. You know, I did ask the chat to see how the audio sounded. I got some thumbs up saying that it sounded all right. I listened back to it and it sounded terrible. So I didn't even put that out as an actual podcast version of the show. So want to make sure we got things right. I have these over the ear headphones, plugged it right into the mic so I can hear myself. Hopefully I'm sounding good and clear. I'm coming out to you if you're watching the show in what should be 720 HD version here. Don't want to go up any more than that with you never know that Wi-Fi connections, you never know. But everyone for tuning in. Also, if you're not a person that watches on YouTube, we are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, so you can get this show in any way that you see fit. But just wanted to apologize for that last show. Definitely was not good from my standards, and obviously for you guys. Wanted you to make sure you heard what I was trying to say. And if you couldn't quite listen to that episode, it was a trade back scenario. I do have an article that does kind of detail what that episode was about on Bear Goggles On. So if you're not following them on Twitter, please go do that right now and come back to the show. And then you also see all my Bears content that's on there. So really appreciate it. And I see everyone's coming into the chat. Kevin from Dallas. What's good from Dallas? What's good, everybody? Hey, Ja Crispy with the fresh melon hat. Guys, melon is my go-to hat for literally everything. Over to my right, I actually have a whole like shelf of just different melon hats. So I love them from working out, for style, whatever you need to do. And melon, if you want to send me hats, let's freaking go. But let's get this show going because I think as we're kind of now officially a month away from the 2025 NFL draft, personally, I cannot wait just because one, I'm looking forward to seeing what the Chicago Bears are going to do with their draft capital. And it all starts with number 10 overall. But those second rounders are also enticing. And I think this is where I want this show to kind of focus a little bit more on, because at 10, man, we got to see, honestly, who goes in the first 9 to even have an indication of who's going to be there. We can all debate Ashton Genty, Will Campbell, just different players. And obviously, if those guys are off the board, then it makes things a lot more interesting. But I just kind of also want to look into some other guys that I've been watching that also you probably have definitely heard of, because the Bears, I think, would be interested in both the players I'm going to highlight here. And that's Michigan's other defensive tackle, Kenneth Grant, not Mason Graham, but Kenneth Grant, who is a very intriguing option. And then an offensive tackle, Oregon, Josh Conerly, who I actually got to see up close and personal at the Senior Bowl. And, I think he made unfortunate headlines because of the rep that Mike Green put on him. And what I don't think it was exactly a one-on-one. It was a one-on-one, actually, because there were linemen there. But, he got put right on his ass. It was an impressive rep. I remember I was recording. I'm like, well, that's going to go viral. And everybody else also recorded it. So, but Josh Conerly, don't think that's the only thing that shouldn't skew your view of him, because he is a really good football player and I think an enticing option. And I think there were reports, and I try to look to clarify, like, are there other people that have said he's on a 30 visit with the Bears? I haven't quite seen multiple reports saying that, but I think still we can talk about him, and I can show you some of my notes that I have on here to detail what kind of player he is, some of his strengths that I have written down, and what he's just done throughout his college career. But let's start with Kenneth Grant really quickly here, because I posted, I did an article, put a scouting report on Bear Goggles On, so you can go read that after you listen to the show. And I said, if he is available in the second round. If he's there at 39 or 41, he would be, I think, a home run hit for the Chicago Bears, Ryan Poles, to just put in the card and go draft a very impactful defensive lineman. And for whatever reason, I think this happens every year. And you know what? I'll admit this too. I used to be that person too. And what that is somebody that immediately sees a player and is like, he's not going to be there. He's not available. He's not going to be there in the second round. That may be true. But did the draft happen yet? I just said it was a month from now. So we don't know who isn't going to be available where. And I think what people may be fixated on is like, where do you see these guys being taken in recent mock drafts? And that's fine. That's also done by the media. Like, I'm going to put on a mock draft, and who cares where I think some players are going to go. And but I do respect obvious people who have done it for a very long time. And just some of the people that I've seen with a Kenneth Grant, because I got a lot of pushback the other day, which, what was that, yesterday or 2 days ago, where, I said, maybe again, 39 or 41, if he's there, you take him if he's there. But a lot of people were saying he's going to be closer to 10. You should just take him with the 10th overall pick. I'm not quite there yet. If the Bears were to maybe trade back in the middle teens, I could see that. But also, I can just tell you, again, I'm just telling you where I've seen him mocked. Because if people are like, fixated on where he's being mocked, well, Daniel Jeremiah, 3.0 mock draft guy that I've said on the show before, fully respect. He is one of the best in the game. 3.0 mock draft, Kenneth Grant went 30th to the Buffalo Bills. Mel Kiper, whatever you think of Mel Kiper, we all grew up watching him do his thing with the NFL draft. Also, 30th in his latest mock draft that I saw. A guy that I've been reading probably since high school, and I'm sure you guys are familiar with the name too, Chad Reuter, from also writes at NFL.com. Looking at his latest mock draft, he did a 5-rounder. Nuts. Insane. Looking at, scrolling. Oh, Bears 39, 41. Mason Taylor. That's an interesting name. Definitely will do a show on tight ends, safeties in a little bit. Pick 42, Kenneth Grant. And then the Athletic did a really nice job of, they did a mock draft today. I believe he went 16th to the Arizona Cardinals. Do you see the varying differences here? I mean, there's a 30, 42, 16. I mean, they're all over the place. So here's what I'm going to say. You do whatever you want to do, but let's not get fixated on where these mock drafts have some of these players, because that is not how most teams are going to look at, some of these players. And they're going to have different boards cater to how they kind of evaluate prospects. There's going to be some needs, and they're going to go by that. So one player can be higher up on one team's board than it could be on another team's board. But again, just to, I guess, share what I was like, I was getting pushback on it. Like, Nick, he's not going to be there. Like, we'll just take him at 10, or like, what are you talking about? Watch the tape. I did watch the tape. I like the player. And actually, since I'm talking about this, let's do, I'm going to share my screen here to make sure that I can show you just some of the stuff that I was able to see watching a guy like Kenneth Grant. And I think I polished this up since the last time I shared my notes. You're going to see my crappy handwriting. I apologize. I can read it. Maybe on the screen you can read it. And, you can kind of see how I kind of do things. But before I get into this, I just want to make sure I address some of these super chats that are in here. John Crispy, I did not get a chance. Let me see here. Do you think Quentin Judkins makes out of round 1? If so, I could see the Bears taking him. I could see him getting out of round 1. I definitely can. And that could be definitely a target for the Bears. I'm not going to rule that out whatsoever, but I do think he would be somebody that makes that a round 1. He should be on the Bears board. 30 watching and only. John Crispy, I'm going to keep putting up your comments because I like the way you're thinking. 30 watching and only 8 likes. My math is bad, but that seems low. Hit that like button if you support the Bears. And Nick, let's do that. Let's get these likes up while you're in here. If you're listening to me, like, okay, maybe you're not sure about what I'm about to say, but at least you can give me a likes up. That goes a long way. Really appreciate it. And then let's get to this last comment, which also happens to be a super chat from Joseph. Thank you. $10 super chat. I have a weird feeling our number 10 pick will be a reach as we will have no trade back options and all the guys we would love will be gone. Okay, referencing that latest mock draft that The Athletic did, I don't know how you guys would feel about this. You can debate in the chat, but Mykel Williams, Georgia defensive end. I like what he can do. Also, I think for people that maybe don't know, he was dealing with an ankle injury starting all the way from week 1. And I get it. Everybody's at some point injured, dealing with something, but he was dealing with that. And so maybe you got to factor that into if you're watching some of the games that he had in this previous season at Georgia, but that was the pick at 10. So I don't know. Maybe that will be a reach. Maybe the players that were expected to be there aren't there, but I'm sure the Bears are going to have contingency plans based on how this draft ends up falling. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But I appreciate the super chat. Good morning, everybody. Let's get into just sharing again some of my notes that I have here on Kenneth Grant, and then we'll go to right next to Josh Conerly as well. But actually, maybe before we share the notes, just really quickly, Kenneth Grant, what did he do last season? Just so you guys have a better understanding. If you haven't watched him, you probably have. He's a bigger name for sure. 12 games played. Primarily, he's going to line up in that B gap, but he does have some flexibility in the A gap as well. 3 sacks last season. 1 quarterback hit, 23 hurries, and 5 batted passes. I noticed that watching on film, and I'll get that into my notes where, even if he's not getting the rush completely that he maybe wanted and he's at bay from the offensive line, hey, let's have that timing, put the hand up, and still make an impact on a play, even though you're not technically getting to the quarterback. The previous season, he played in 15 games. That would be your 2023 season, 5 sacks, which is his career high at Michigan. And then also 3 quarterback hits, 15 hurries, and 3 batted passes. And again, that season also lined up primarily in the B gap, but also has some flexibility in the A gap, but definitely more of a B gap player there. So let me go up, bring the notes up, and share my screen because I definitely tried all this out before doing this live. So it's going to work so perfectly as I do this, and bam. Let me know in the chat, too, if you can see this, because if you can't, this is going to piss me off, but it should be up there on your screen. Crappy handwriting, but that's, again, I'm just taking a bunch of random notes as I'm kind of watching and just again, how I view film. It's the one. Okay, so maybe you're watching this for the first time, like, what the hell is this guy know? Okay, fully I get it, completely understand. The only, I guess, background, I did take an NFL scouting academy class, did pass it, but it does teach you how to kind of watch film, do some things. But this is how I do it. It's just on my notes on my tablet here. But for the people that are listening to this podcast, you're going to hear verbatim what I have written down so that if you're not a YouTube watcher, which you should be, you can see what I'm saying. So I have here number 78 lined up versus the right guard. Next note, lined up between left guard and center, gets through them, should have drawn a holding penalty. I noticed that really early on. He can get penetration, but probably didn't get the flags for whatever reason. Maybe they're paying attention more to Mason Graham. Good job taking on the double team near Ohio State's goal line. Splits the defenders, uses swim move and in the backfield. You're going to see swim move a lot. Loves to use Elijah's hands to kind of get around overcommitted offensive linemen that are maybe putting their head down and not be able to get an effective block on him. Swim. I saw that a bunch from Kenneth Grant. Nice job standing up the left guard on 3rd and short play. Keeps his ground. Grant follows the ball, able to get through the stretch zone play right and makes a play. Should have said play there behind the line of scrimmage. Gets pinned inside, but run went for a negative gain. And then I just have here straight power on his rush, walking the left guard back into the quarterback's lap. Hits QB as he throws, but pass was complete. Another decent rush next play overpowers the center. Grant ends up on the ground near quarterback's feet. Pass completed 3rd and 1. Have here start of the 3rd quarter. Grant, nice move to get by the right guard. Swim, and then in on the tackle for a 2-yard gain. 3rd and 5. Grant loses his footing in his rush after left guard hits Grant while engaged with the center. Saw that a little bit of times where in this game, this was against Ohio State, where he had his best game of the 2024 season, which happened to be the last game. Michigan wins that 13-10. When he's engaged with multiple guys, at times maybe it's just not, I don't want to say lack of awareness, but the awareness to know like where another block is coming from. I think Grant can continue to work on that. I think you saw a little bit more of um, the ability to get him off his gap when he was in that A gap. So you can have the left guard, right guard come both at you at a combo block. So did see that a couple times. 78, no type of rush on first down. All right, Grant. 3rd and 7, beautiful move. Swim past the center. Right guard can't stop his pursuit. Pressure in quarterback's face, and he misses man in the middle of the field. The quarterback there, all Grant, near interception. Then we have Grant completely moved out of his gap, creates a run. So again, that's one of those plays I was just kind of referencing. Stack and shed rights guard to make the tackle. Nice blocking concepts from that's what I noticed too later in the game. Ohio State had some interesting blocking concept where they just had guys polling and also combo blocking, and that I think created Grant to not exactly know where the blocks are coming from, and that's where this note comes in. Nice blocking concepts from Ohio State. Grant driven to a knee and put on the ground, and then sheds block and makes tackle for no gain on running back. 3rd and 5, rush isn't there by Michigan. Quarterback runs. Grant tracks him down. Safety also helps, but Grant stops the quarterback short. Ohio State quarterback mobile. Howard, the quarterback there. But yeah, that was another thing. The motor is definitely there with Grant. Bigger guy, obviously, and even if a play is kind of going opposite side, like you will see Grant, depending on where he's at on the field, he will go and try to track people down. So I do like the effort there that I saw from Kenneth Grant in the games that I was watching him. I see. Okay, as I'm looking down, because I have a monitor over to my right and I can't quite see the chat, but I do see where is this? Bears Junkie 55 Hall of Fame. You should be a doctor. The handwriting is the only thing that would compare me to a doctor, but yeah, it's not as great. We got another game against USC that I was able to watch. First play, swim move. Great use of hands plus body movement. Makes right guard whiff, and Grant makes a tackle. Doubled and moved out of his gap. Love the way he uses his hands to take advantage of bad technique. Swims past the left guard. There to stop run on 3rd down. Nice power out of his stance versus the right guard. Runs a twist outside with the DN. Drives back to center, but doesn't have a second move to win the rush. Quarterback has... I think that says time. I don't know why I thought it said fine. Time, and delivers a big pass on 3rd and 11. Not much of a plan, rushing on last 2 reps. So that was one of the, in my article that I wrote, kind of the weaknesses. Just having more of a plan sometimes. I think if he's not working or winning with power, it's like, what are you going to do next, Kenneth? Like, what's the next kind of step for you as an interior defender? What's going to be your next go-to kind of move? I think you can kind of work on that. Got caught jumping off sides. 3rd down, right before the half. Grant gets a sack, fighting for that one, working left center plus guard, and takes down the quarterback. Then we have nice timing. The quarterback tips a pass on 1st down to start 3rd quarter. Bench press the right guard. And he did increase his bench press on the pro day, which was a welcome sight to see for Kenneth Grant, because didn't have quite the performance that he did at the NFL Combine, but definitely got the reps up as pro day. Grant takes on the polling block, but running back runs by and gets an explosive run. Then we have these last 4 notes. Grant picks up the fumble, but tries to oh, this is a funny play. Grant picks up the fumble, but tries to stiff arm the running back and gets the ball ripped out of him. Ohio State or USC ends up getting the ball right back, but I don't know. I guess you don't learn that much ball security as a giant 300+ defensive tackle, but he had it. Tried to stiff arm the running back, and the running back, just give me that, and took the ball back after the USC fumbled. Sheds a block easily from the right guard, but can't make the tackle. Double team, drops Grant to a knee. And then I have last note here. Quick hands, swipes away the center and gets the quarterback, forces a throwaway. All right, let's kind of stop that right there. Hopefully, you know what? Honestly, too, like feedback right now. Like I enjoy. I do these notes regardless for me. But if you don't find this beneficial, like after you listen to this or watch this or however you consume this video, let me know. Like I didn't find value in that, or maybe condense it, or whatever it may be. Just let me know. Just always trying to find different ways to get you different type of content. Also showing like, yeah, I am doing this. I'm not just like regurgitating what other people are saying about the player. I want to go out and kind of look at it myself so that you can see what I'm seeing as I'm taking notes. But if you didn't like that, let me know in the comment. You can let me know right now too. I'm also trying to monitor the chat a little bit here as I'm kind of multitasking, but let me know and we can kind of, make improvements, upgrade, get better from this. So let's do this. Before I get to Josh Conerly real quick, I think this would be a good time just to take a quick break here. Because as all of you know, like without sponsors and people that support you, it's kind of hard to do some of the things that you like to do. And that's why I have Windy City Sports Cards who has my back. But look, they specialize in buying and selling all things related to Chicago sports. Whether you're a diehard fan of the Bears, Bulls, Cubs, White Sox, or the Blackhawks, they've got you covered with an extensive selection of sports memorabilia and collectibles. In addition to their Chicago focus items, they also offer a vast collection of sports trading cards and memorabilia from your favorite teams and players. Visit their online store to find exactly what you're looking for to complete your collection or discover a new favorite. Visit them at 312-WindyCitySports.com. Again, that's 312-WindyCitySports.com. All right, everybody, this is the Nicholas Moreano Show. I'm your host, Nicholas Moreano. We are here recapping and sharing some of these prospects that are maybe seen a little bit later in the draft, depending on how you view Kenneth Grant. Maybe he's good at 10, maybe he's good later in the second round, trade back, or even, maybe at pick 39. But I think this player who we're going to next talk about is Josh Conerly Jr., the offensive tackle from Oregon, a guy that last season played in 14 games. All 929 of those snaps were at left tackle, only gave up 1 sack, 2 quarterback hits, and 6 quarterback hurries. The previous season, too, 887 snaps at left tackle. 1 snap was actually at left guard. In that season, also only gave up 1 sack and 2 quarterback hits and 14 quarterback hurries. Only has given up, guys, 2 sacks when in the last 2 years when he was at the University of Oregon. So this is a player that, hey, let's say the Bears do go and draft a skilled player at 10. It could be Ashton Genty. Maybe it's a Tyler Warren. Go skilled player. So then you're looking at number 39 and potentially 41 for what I think would be just an obvious, let's upgrade the trenches, especially if a player who fits what the Bears like is available there. Josh Conerly, obviously playing that left tackle position, that could potentially work for the Bears, especially if they're looking at, or it depends how they view. Look, honestly, it depends how they view Braxton Jones and, just his maybe growth going forward. But Josh Conerly could potentially be somebody that the Bears could target. And really quickly, before I get to my notes on him, I just want to just check out, and I should have had this down, but looking at his physical size, 6'4", 315, 21 years old, the arm length I know is a big thing. And when you look at Braxton Jones, Darnell Wright, they definitely have the arm length that you're probably looking for. 33.5 inches for Josh Conerly. And if you're wondering, I think whenever you hear arm length, you automatically probably think, what is Will Campbell at again? Josh Conerly, 33.5. Will Campbell, 32 5/8. So I think would fit what I think is a standard, or maybe the standard of the floor, the floor for most teams in the arm length for a tackle. But that is where Josh Conerly is at. So let's pull up these notes real quick, you guys. We can go through that and then just kind of have a couple of other just notes or takeaways from the weekend, Bears related news that I think you should know about. So I'm going to pull up my notes. Uno más time. I need to work on my Spanish, my God. But here we go. Let's get this going. Share the screen. And we have, that's right, Oregon versus Ohio State. Should be, I think this is a pretty good game for Josh Conerly, to be completely honest. 1st and 10. Here we go. Reading the notes, Josh Conerly, that I have from his game against the Ohio State Buckeyes last season. I believe this was actually the first game of the year, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe that's completely off. But we have 1st and 10, pass set, misses with his hands versus the end. DN gets around the edge. Lucky was a quick pass. That end was a little tricky there at points. I'm pretty sure I wrote his name or number down. Next rep, nice job walling off the defender on a run play. Doesn't get the best block on the DN, but just enough to widen DN out. Running back has a lane, 20+ yard gain. Next note, little high out of his stance near the goal line, bounces back off the defensive lineman. Then we have 2nd and 7. Nice pass set, smooth and keeps DN at bay. No worry for quarterback on that rep. Next note, decent anchor versus the rush on 2nd and 12. Does bounce off the DN after a spin move, blocks long enough for an explosive play to happen. Good rep, staying attached to the defensive end. QB hanging in the pocket. Conerly mirrors the DN, explosive play. Pulls, but his teammate is blown up in the backfield, impedes his path. Got to be better there, right guard. Down blocks and combo to displace the defensive tackle. I just have here. Next note, fluid in his pass set. Quick first step to kick out the DN. Conerly gets his hands inside the shoulder pads, walls off the defender. There's a lane for the running back to the left. Another strong rep. Quick to engage with the DN, walls him off. I think he did a really good job. I think just positioning wise with Conerly, getting there quickly. And what that allows the running back to do is a decisive read off of the block, like knowing, hey, this is where Conerly's ass is at. Let me work inside off of that, or depending on how it's blocked up, you can go outside. But I think he did a good job of having clear, distinct blocks that allowed, his running backs to kind of succeed there. Giving up some ground on the pass set, anchors, quarterback holding the ball, but climbs. Decent anchor and pass blocking rep on 2nd and 10. Helps out his left guard, knocking off D tackle off balance. Then we have an unblocked defender off the left edge. Left tackle plus left guard block the same man. Didn't know if that was a Conerly issue, quarterback issue, communication. Who knows? Quarterback has to scramble. Oversets versus number 44. That's a DN for Ohio State that was at times giving Conerly some issues, who has been battling all game, as I put in parentheses. DN wins inside, but quick pass outside. So no damage done on that rep. Powerful jab step to the left, walls off the edge, huge lane for the running back, clears space. Pulls in a huge contact in the B gap. Conerly makes the block, allows running back to get a good 7-yard gain in the red zone. I did like his ability to move. I know I had a note up there, like he pulls and then his right guard was pushed back and that impedes his path. But when he was moving, I liked what in control. He was in control, and if he had to make a block, hey, he's out there making it. Nice job kicking out the DN. And then I have here, beat inside, not a clean block with his hands. I think that happened on the very first rep of the game. Saw it here towards the end as well. Good job picking up the twist here, and then pulls and kicks out DN, helps running back get first down on 3rd and 6. So the next game, I'm like, all right, let me watch versus Illinois. But I don't think I have many notes here because Josh Conerly looked like a top 10, top 5 pick against the defensive ends for Illinois. So it wasn't just even fair. And I'm pretty sure I put this actually in the notes. DN isn't doing anything, dancing with Conerly. Nice space from Conerly. Moves his feet and turns his body, walls off the defensive end. Here, quarterback has all day, all caps to throw. Conerly, nice space. Stance in his pass set, defensive end taken out of the play. Displaces the DN, moves him completely out of his gap, helps running back gain 6 yards. And then I just have here, moving these DNs. Like it was like, all right, I need to watch maybe a different game. I don't even think I'm going to go through all these notes because he's blocks 2 guys, pins end man, and gets his hand on another Illinois defender. Running back has a path outside. So as I was watching this, I'm like, all right, guys, this is looking a little too easy for Josh Conerly. So let me just go watch one more game versus Purdue. This one was a little bit more challenging, but still, I think Conerly had a decent day. And I'm not going to go through all of these, but again, just an indication of what Conerly was doing and what I was seeing on film. Number 0, Purdue, long arms, moving Conerly back, but still had a good base. Number 0, nice stack, and gets Conerly off of him, but can't disengage quick enough to tackle the running back. So I guess just from those 2 reps, guys that have a little bit of those longer arms, they were able to get into Conerly's base, again, stack him, try to find the running back. In this case, the defensive end wasn't quite able to do that effectively, but you're able to kind of get some separation from the 2. One-on-one pass rush, and Conerly locks up the DN. Nice job battling with number 0 and getting to his inside shoulder. There's a lane for the running back, gets the first on 2nd and 6. Let's see. We have Conerly pulls left to right, makes block, but loses balance on contact. His man makes the tackle. Yeah, you know what? So here, this is a good some notes here just on him pulling. Pulls left to right, tries to kick out the end, but uses his shoulder and doesn't make the block. Run goes for a yard. Then you have the next play. Pulls and gets to the second level defender, walls him off, creates a lane. And here's another one. Pulls on lead block to his side. Conerly takes care of the poor DB, touchdown. So it's I guess you saw a little bit of a little inconsistency there, but it wasn't because Conerly wasn't in a position. So that's why I was going back to what I was saying when he's pulling. Like, he's in position, but even doesn't matter how small the defender is that he tried to use a shoulder on. It was a DN. Like, you just want to make that effective block there. For the most part, I felt like Conerly was in a place to make a block, was in that position and allowed his teammates to kind of get good yardage off of him, running backs that have decisive reads. So I did like that. And I do like the idea of Josh Conerly being somebody that the Bears could potentially target on day 2 if they do not address the offensive tackle position with the number 10 overall pick. So if he's there at 39 and the Bears end up drafting him, I see absolutely why they should. And I wouldn't have any reservation about it. But that's a guy that I think makes sense for what the Bears could be looking for in a guy that maybe replaces Braxton Jones in a year, or maybe is more so the guy that doesn't even play much in this 2025 season. But I don't know. I think I'm kind of gone a little back and forth on how I feel like the Bears are going to approach this draft. And credit to Kevin Fishbane from The Athletic, who wrote a really good article. But this is the window now for the Bears to be aggressive. We've seen that in free agency, but to take advantage of Caleb Williams' rookie contract. Maybe that happens with a 10th overall pick where you just want to get an impact player, whether it's Ashton Genty, Tyler Warren, who knows, a skilled player to go along with him because you want to capitalize on that rookie contract, and you're not so much drafting players that you don't know exactly if they're going to be the guy starting right now or whatever it may be. I would hope at a pick 10 you find an impact day 1 starter, but it's going to be interesting how the Bears approach this. So again, maybe Josh Conerly in round 2 kind of fits the bill of, well, he could start, or we don't necessarily have to have him start right now. All right, guys. I mean, that was kind of the not all 22, but just notes I had on Kenneth Grant, Josh Conerly. And please let me know if you're watching or listening. Maybe this is more so too for the audio listeners. Me reading off the notes that I have for these players, does that work for the audio listener? Please let me know. However you need to get a hold of me, that would be a good way for me to understand what works for you, what's going to work on one medium, the YouTube version, when maybe not so much on the audio version. But do want to find different ways to get different content to you guys, and that's just one way that I take those notes regardless. And if it doesn't help you guys, then we don't have to do it again. But let me know. Really quickly, just some notes from the weekend that, hey, you guys maybe already probably know about, but Michigan Pro Day happened last Friday, and the Michigan Wolverines put out a 33-second video of the Pro Day, essentially, and showing just some highlights of the players working out, but also you're seeing a bunch of coaches and NFL personnel there. In the snapshot video that they showed, you see Bears head coach Ben Johnson. You also see Bears defensive coordinator Dennis Allen. They're featured in the video. And maybe people are listening like, no, duh, Nick, it's a pro day, and Michigan has a lot of good football players. Why wouldn't the Bears be there? No, you're completely right. I completely understand that. But I think sending your defensive coordinator and your head coach, maybe, when you're looking at some of the players that Michigan does have, could it be a guy like Mason Graham? I mean, that would be amazing if he fell to 10. But if he's not there, I don't really see it being a guy, cornerback Will Johnson from the Michigan Wolverines. I don't think that's in play there. Colston Loveland, though, tight end, intriguing prospect and intriguing for the Bears. I don't know about 10, but like I could maybe a trade back scenario. I still want to watch more film on him, but he's one of the guys. Obviously, the guy that I already, detailed and talked about, Kenneth Grant, isn't, like I said, would be an intriguing, interesting, and I think go-to option at 39 if he's available. So just make note of that. Also, there was a video recently, another social media video of the Chicago Bears defensive line working out with pass rush specialist Brandon Jordan, you guys. And what he does, he's again a pass rush specialist. He's founded Trench Performance in 2018, and he's worked with over 200 NFL players. But in the video that he showed, you see Montez Sweat, Grady Jarrett, Jervon Dexter Sr., and Austin Booker all working out at the same time. And I mean, I think it's really common to see workout videos in the off season of players. But I mean, I think if you're a Bears fan seeing that, and I know a lot of Bears fans who saw the video, I know I shared it. Jason McKee is the one that I saw it from. They were excited for that. And I think that is a good thing to see these guys working out together, because you're going to have to develop that cohesion, that chemistry on the defensive line, especially when you're running these twists, these stunts, how you're going to play the position with a newcomer and Grady Jarrett added to those three guys that were obviously with the team last year. You just need to get familiarity, and they're starting to do that, even if it's just in the pass rush reps. I did like seeing that. And really quick, I mean, Brandon Johnson, he also does a lot of work with the Denver Broncos. And if I'm not mistaken, the Denver Broncos also led the NFL last year in sacks with, was it 68, if I'm not mistaken? I want to make sure I have that. NFL sack team leaders. We have Denver Broncos. Sorry, not 68. Sorry, 63, I believe is what I just saw here. So 63 sacks. So you're working with a guy that has worked with that group. I like that. I like that for the Bears. I like that for the defensive line. I like that for a guy like Austin Booker, who a guy that the Bears just drafted last year, 5th round. Yeah, I do like the idea of them working out together. You want to see Dio Odengbo maybe get involved in that at some point, but definitely it's I guess encouraging, right? All right, and the last kind of note, and this has been out there, but I definitely saw it this weekend. Next Gen Stats. I wasn't following them on Instagram before this weekend, but I did see a post from them, and it was just an alarming stat, you guys. Just one that you hope does not happen in 2025. And that is the Chicago Bears. Obviously, everyone knows 68 sacks on Caleb Williams, most in the NFL last season. Next Gen Stats also, I think, took it a step, not even a step above, but also detailed how bad it was for Caleb in his rookie season. Here is the stat. In the 2024 season, Caleb Williams faced the most unblocked pressures, 105, and unblocked sacks, 13 in the NFL. You know what, guys? Like, some of those sacks went on Caleb Williams, but when you hear that stat, like that, to me, that's a lot that went wrong with the offense. That's a chemistry issue. That's a communication issue. That's a offensive schematic issue. Like, why are this many guys applying pressure unblocked to the quarterback? I know the quarterback obviously has some responsibilities in setting protections, but the center can also help with that, depending on where the pressure is coming from. But to have 105, no wonder Caleb Williams was sacked 68 times last season. That needs to improve. And that also goes back to why I believe Ryan Poles, Ben Johnson, Ian Cunningham were so aggressive in upgrading the interior of the offensive line with guys that have been future or former Pro Bowlers, all pros, an ascending young center in Drew Dahlman. You needed to get that right. And you need that number to be drastically lower than it was in 2025. But seeing that stat, you're like, holy crap. No wonder things were that bad. But I just had to share that with you because things are going to get better, because they should get better. They better get better. Let's be completely honest. You did upgrade the offensive line. Maybe there's more upgrading to be done in this upcoming draft, but that is really alarming. And it's also going to be on Ben Johnson's responsibility to coach up Caleb so that he can also do a better job of getting out of sacks. And he had his fair share of avoiding them too. Like he was shifty in the pocket. And I know Jonah Jackson kind of just talked about that with on ESPN 1000, Pat the Designer, like saying that Caleb will avoid sacks, and he's shown that. But I think Ben Johnson's offense, what he can do schematically, will help Caleb Williams just get out of some of those sacks by maybe taking a check down instead of looking for a deeper, explosive play downfield. If the defense isn't going to let you have that, you take the check down. You keep the chains moving and stay ahead of them instead of behind them, which happened far too many times last season while the Bears were just rotating through offensive coordinators, rotating through offensive linemen. It just wasn't a recipe for success in year one for Caleb Williams. But again, the Bears have upgraded that offensive line. The Bears are better now than they were at the end of the 2024 season. And that should be an encouraging sign that number that I just read off, both those numbers, the unblocked pressures, 105, the unblocked sacks, 13, are nowhere near those numbers this upcoming season. All right, everybody. Well, hey, I appreciate everyone for coming in, hanging out on your Monday morning. The schedule for this show, this is what I want to keep doing. Earlier in the morning, even like I started, I think around 9:30. Typically, 8:39 is where I want to be at, and I need to hold myself accountable to get that start time right for you guys, so you know when to tune in. But for everybody that is went in here and hung out for a little bit, or if you stayed the whole show, you're the best. I really appreciate it. You're going to help grow this channel to where I want it to be. As we a month away now from the 2025 NFL draft. We'll have mini camps, we'll have training camps, all those different types of things. So I love that you guys are hopefully enjoying this. And like I said earlier, give me some feedback. Let me know what you like, what you don't like. I'm definitely open to it. Like this is all about building, getting better, and want to get better for you guys. But that's going to wrap it up for this edition of the Nicholas Moreano Show. Appreciate everyone for coming in and hanging out, like I said. But make sure as you're heading out to maybe you're already at work or going to work, just whatever you're doing throughout your day, give this video a like, maybe leave a comment, subscribe, and share this YouTube channel to somebody else. And again, I am on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Music, so you can find me there as well. Also, I completely forgot to talk about this at the top of the show. We're going to look back on this past weekend wondering why the hell are people outrageously dipping their face in a bowl of water with ice and using whatever type of water that, I don't know. Okay, people who maybe haven't seen this on social media, big swole dude kind of details his entire morning. It's kind of outrageous, to be completely honest, but he starts really early and he has this, I forget what type of water it is. I really don't care about the water, but he dips into a bowl, dips his face in there, and people are kind of making fun of it because it seems like throughout the day, this guy really doesn't do much, but dip his face in water, wakes up, and then he has this part in the video where he eats a banana and then uses the peel to moisturize his face. And then later in the video, gets that same bowl of water, dip his face in there to start his morning. I think I tweeted out to start the show. I'm like, did everybody wake up and dip their face in a bowl of water? No, I guess we're not doing it right according to social media. But we're going to look back at this weekend. Like, why is this a thing? Well, this is where it happened. It happened right here this past weekend. But that's social media for you. So I might do a spoof of that. Who knows? All right, you guys, that's going to do it. Really quickly, Eric Bochan's in the chat, just stopping by. When are you planning to go live again? Sorry if you already said. That's okay, Eric. We're gonna go live tomorrow. So tune in tomorrow, Eric, and we're gonna do this in the morning. 8:30, 9-ish. I'm gonna try to. That's kind of the frame of when I want to start. So look for that. Today was a little later, 9:30, but do want to get these out early in the morning. So anybody who's just doing their daily activities, they can tune in or listen to this later in the day. But I will be back tomorrow. Make sure to have a good show for you guys. I do want to preview some of these safeties that are in the draft, so maybe that's a tease for tomorrow. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this episode of the Nicholas Moreano Show. I've already said it a million times. Thank you everybody for tuning in, hanging out. But until then, adios.
Bend over to your right. What the was that?
What's up, Bears fans? People want to hear me talk.